Enhancement of one's technical skills is vital to technical and vocational education. If acquisition of skills is vitally important, equally, if not more important, is the execution of those very skills. The embodiment of this very idea is the dance performance known as Charya Nritya in Nepali, which we just witnessed. Charya is a sacred Buddhist dance of Nepal dating back over 1,000 years. We saw a wonderful rendition of this artful dance by Ms. Lakshmi Taman, a Bachelor in Fine Arts student at Kathmandu University. Brought up in Butterfly Home, a non-profit early child development center set up by CNN hero Ms. Pushpa Bhasne. The youngster, we are told, has honed her many skills against all odds. We'd like to thank Ms. Lakshmi Taman once again for that spirited journey. Honorable Minister for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Giriraj Manipokra, most respected Vice Chancellor to Kathmandu University, Professor Dr. Ramkanth Mukherjee, Her Excellency Ms. Elizabeth von Capella, Ambassador of Switzerland to Nepal, Founding Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Professor Dr. Suresh Raj Sharma, international dignitaries, distinguished personalities, all the revered professors and faculties of universities, conference leaders, friends from the press, and all participants. Namaste, a very good morning and warm welcome to the Lelam Tibet for Income International Conference on Technical and Vocational Education and Training for Employment, Income, and Job Quality. My name is Dorashish Nyopani.
And I'm Lina Groom, your host for the conference. We are happy to receive you all in the Likhe. Once again, welcome to the country of Himalayas. This conference has been organized by Kathmandu University School of Education, ETH Jury, Swiss Program for Research on Global Issues for Development, Swiss National Science Foundation, and Swiss Confederation. It aims to build upon the current knowledge on aspects like governance, quality, equity, access, and relevance of TVT sector. The supporting partners to this conference are Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training Sakshamta Project, European Union, and the Federation of Nepalese Chambers of Commerce and Industry FNCCI. There are about 200 participants from all continents and around 30 countries participating in this conference. In these 2 days, you will have an opportunity to listen, discuss, and present best academic papers on various themes on the technical and vocational education and training. There are 4 keynote speeches and nearly 100 papers. I'm personally excited to host this conference. I hope you will have a fruitful and productive day in Turkey.
Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. To mark the formal start of the program, may I place a humble request on you all to rise for the national anthem of Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal.
Sayuthunga fulka हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली सायुथुङ्गा फुलका हामी एउटै माला नेपाली सार्वभौम भई फैलिएका मेची महाकाली प्रकृतिका कोटि कोटि सम्पदाको आछी राष्ट्र हाम्रो जय जय
Kathmandu University School of Education launched a new academic program in the beginning of August 2018. That's Master in Technical and Vocational Education, known as MTVET. The program was developed by Professor Dr. Mahesh Nagparajuli, Dean of School of Education at KU and Principal Investigator for Nepal in the Lelam Tibet for Income project and his team. This conference comes just under a year after the launch of MTVET program. In the run-up to the conference, respected Dean Dr. Mahesh Nagparajuli expressed confidence that the conference could play a vital role in bringing TVT researchers, practitioners, and policymakers together to explore the role this sector can play in the socio-economic development of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, allow us to invite on the podium most respected Dean of CUSUT, Professor Dr. Mahesh Nagparajuli, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Lina. Hoffman, Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University, Professor Dr. Margaret Shrestha, Our Excellency, Ambassador of Switzerland to Nepal, Isabel's found partner for youth mistake and founder Vice Chancellor Professor Shrestha Sharma. It is a great pleasure to be here with you in this opening session of International Conference on Technical and Professional Education and Training. Let me welcome you all on behalf of myself, School of Education and Kaplan University. This conference, with the main theme of debate for employment, income and job quality, is an example of our commitment towards academic discourse on topics of our interest. It provides us an opportunity to discuss our experiences and share our ideas with the purpose of contributing towards our better future. Not only this, I am sure we'll be able to utilize this conference, this big gathering of renowned and non-debate scholars, researchers and practitioners, question and challenge some of our understandings and beliefs. This is because it has now become clear that the way we have been doing, the way we have been working till now, need radical reformulation if we really want to work for a happy, cohesive and natural world. Technical and vocational education and training has historic tradition in Nepal. Historical records show that Nepali state invested in TBET and related activities as early as in the 14th century, creating some formalized institutions. At the community level, people developed institutions and practices to educate younger ones to life skills. Naturally, those institutions and practices were informal, but they provided us an environment that used to be simple, nature-friendly, and sustainable. We began modernized development practices during the middle of the 20th century. In the field of TBET also, Nepali state began in the Renaissance with modernized and borrowed ideology and practices. Unfortunately, such interventions remained sporadic, small and fragmented. More critically, the state debate that was carried out in an uncontextual manner, largely ignoring the local cultural and historical traditions. Given its design, faulty design and implementation, Nepali youth and their parents were not attracted towards it as we expect. It proved to be very small in breaking the prevailing socio-economic hierarchy and strong attraction towards the government bureaucracy, and thus could bring little change in the social, cultural, and economic and political environment of the country. This is why I raised the question. I raised the need for questioning the way we have been doing. This conference, we expect, will provide some directions and alternatives for a more relevant and contextualized debate that will really add to the need of the country, its people. The alternatives or the strategy that we work out, that we develop, is to base on local cultural and historical traditions. Of course, we should not forget, or we cannot forget, what the world has achieved in the present context. So there must be some synergy between our traditions and modern inventions. As the name of the project suggests, or the conference theme, the aim is to generate substantial research-based information that will help us bring in education and labor markets more closely so that they can work together and thus facilitate for better employment and better earning. youth with better job quality. This project has also been supporting the Kaplan University program, Master in Technical and Vocational Education and Training. As you saw the video here, a 2-year academic program aiming to TVET educator, TVET leader and manager, TVET entrepreneur, and TVET researcher. We began this innovative program just last year, and just last month we enrolled 18 national and international students at our second batch. We believe this program is going to contribute to Nepali TVET in many ways. The program has also drawn considerable attention among youths in many other countries. Finally, I would like to thank all those institutions and individuals who supported us in organizing this conference at its grand scale. Several organizations and individuals contributed directly and indirectly to make this conference happen. I would like to remember here our European Union supported project Sakshamta being implemented by Council for Technical Education and Professional Training (CTEVT) and Federation of Nepalese Chambers and Industries and Commerce for their generous financial support in organizing this conference. I should remember here all my colleagues at School of Education and Kaplan University who worked day and night for making this conference a lifetime experience. My salute to all of them. Contribution of members of LERM project team, particularly from ETH, and particularly the Dr. Ursula Renaud here, has remained invaluable. Actually, we did some background work. The real actors making this conference successful is you all people here staying here. Your ideas, debate, the discussion that you've been making here have ultimate values for making this conference successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, respected Dean of Kathmandu University School of Education, Professor Dr. Manish Nagaraj, who, alongside all the other stakeholders in this conference, is a very high hope about this conference being able to bring or share the knowledge and expertise among the practitioners and researchers for an even larger goal of empowering the youth for employment, income, and job quality. During the launch of the MTEVT program in Kathmandu University School of Education in 2018, many important actors, both national and international, concerned with Nepal's TVET sector were present. Amongst them was a personality who, amongst her many other contributions, used her travel then to give the MTEVT students a course about management of TVET institutions and programs. It gives us immense pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to announce to you that she has graced us with her presence in this conference as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we feel honored to invite to the podium Dr. Ursula Renaud, Head of Division Comparative Education System Research, ETS Zurich, for her remarks.
Welcome to this conference. Honorable Minister, Your Excellency Mrs. Elisabeth von Capella, Vice Chancellor of the University of Kathmandu, dear colleague, Dean of School of Education, I really feel touched to see a full lecture hall for the first international congress on TVET here in Nepal. And I have to congratulate to the organizer. I know how hard this was to set that conference together and to attract students, researchers, TVET actors from all over the world, including the United States. So, distinguished guests, on behalf of this steering committee of the LELAM project, I'd like to welcome you because we are starting a worldwide movement to bring all TVET stakeholders together to learn sector in all countries. Because it's not only that you need that here, the testimonial who will share some experience from the other side of the world, from the United States, is Noel Ginsburg, an entrepreneur, initiator of a big initiative in Colorado, is among us, and we will learn together what is the differences between the two countries. And if you allow, Noel, I always challenge him. I don't know who is faster in making that happen, Nepal or the United States. So this is my running joke because it's true. It's true. And if you attend the lecture of Noel Ginsburg, you may understand why this is the case. Ladies and gentlemen, the TVET is the topic of the 21st century. It's not just something for other people's children. No, it has to do with the technological change around the world. Digital transformation is something which affects all countries, independently if you are in a developing context or in a developed context. What does this digital transformation mean? You have a faster change of new processes in the companies, and this basically produces a change of qualification requirement. So if we, you and me, are not constantly re-educating us, we will be not successful in the labor market. Well, everybody who is an educator here knows exactly that the problem is industry is fast, but education is slow. This pace is not parallel. So that means there is no way in the TVET sector without embracing the industry. And I'm very happy to see a lot of industry partners joining this international conference, industry partners from Nepal, which I have met in my 8 trips to Nepal several times. And I challenge again my colleague in the States. They don't have this industry association in the States. Who want to do TVET? You have that here in Nepal. What a gift for the country. So it's really something we have to understand, that where are the resources, the willing people who want to help to change. And I can tell you, if the industry is going fast with regard to the change, we have to embrace the industry sector to be partner in this initiative. Because if you can learn in the workplace on the best available technology, it's much easier to produce the right skills and to meet the needs. That's why I'm very happy to be here in Nepal, because they have so many wonderful ingredients to shape that landscape, which is for all other countries who are here a role model. However, we know the ingredients are here, but the systemic change has to be done, and therefore we are basically analyzing under what condition can TVET be important and successful, and therefore I also have to say we have to think about what makes a TVET system attractive. I make my coming out always, and I'm proud to say I started my own education with an apprenticeship. Because I was a little bit a stubborn girl at that moment when I was 15-year-old, I don't like to go anymore to school. But I would like to be embedded in an adult team, to become independent. And you know, I still be proud to be an apprentice, have been in a bank learning what is the money. And then the good thing, if you have a country which offers you progression routes towards the next level of education, who cares what you are doing as a first education? So my dream for all countries who are here is that your country, and here especially in Nepal, that we can create a TVET system that is a TVET system for all the whole lifespan. And that means we have to think beyond just secondary education TVET. We need to think along the lifespan that we, you and me, we need to retool, and we need formal degrees on a post-secondary education. Here, again, I can address the minister. You can be proud of your teams in the CTVT, in Azure, in the Ministry of Education. They set up a national qualification board for vocational education training. When I saw that my first time, I was, wow, a lot of countries do not have such a wonderful national vocational qualification framework. The only thing is now, again, Noel Ginsburg is confirming that non-verbally, because if you have that, you have a nice framework which you basically later on over years can fill, and that is the strength of this system. Of course, that needs regulation, and I think the Minister of Education actually is going in that way to think about how can we regulate a strong TVET system, and I hope that in the next few months you come up with the new idea how you want to regulate that. It must be for secondary education, but also for others. Another big advantage you have here is our project is a research project, but we are working very closely together with all the stakeholders here from the industry, from the education, from the CTVT, and we invite every year a delegation of Nepal, but also from the other developing country of our project, to Switzerland, to our reform lab. Because the problem is, if you are in a change mode, how do the functionaries at the ministries, the administration know how to change if it's the first time they are doing that? So they need experienced people who help them to shape the landscape. And we are proud to say that 4 delegations of Nepal have been to Switzerland to learn, and to learn with the whole worldwide community, including people from Latin America or from the United States. And out of that summit, we create this worldwide community where Nepal is a partner of, and where Nepal contributes to problems in other countries. And saying that, I'm again very proud that all stakeholders are here in this audience and help to work. A special thank I would like to say to the member secretary of the CTVT, Dr. Wagler, because he has a hard job. He has an institution which needs to be restructured sooner or later, and I have high respect. I was once in such a position, and I know everybody, your people think, please tell me what is my next job and where do I work? And of course you cannot do that because you depend on the overall regulation. But I have to tell you, this institution helps us to evaluate the most important 24 months apprenticeship program here in Nepal. And it was a hard challenge, and they do this apart from their daily work. And we can say that we are very proud, because if we get out, we can prove that the apprentices will have a higher income. That helps you to channel the money in the right direction. Not only the public money, but the whole donor money will go in this direction where you have seen the aspiration of young students. So that said, you feel my passion for this TVET sector. You see that I'm so proud to have the first international TVET Congress here in Nepal. It's just the starting point of a long-lasting collaboration, I would say, together with our colleagues from Nepal, Benin, Chile, Costa Rica, to learn how can we shape those sectors. And therefore, thank you very much for coming. I'm looking forward to these 100 presentations from all over the world, especially also from Nepal. Thank you to the presenters to take this long way to come and to present. And also thank you very much for the Swiss Embassy, STC, for the huge support you gave us always, the Minister of Education, who is always ready to speak to us, and of course the university, who is our main partner. I'm looking forward to having fruitful discussions with you, so thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Ursula Renaud, for such an energetic and wonderful speech. We'll be hearing more from her in a keynote speech tomorrow. Definitely, according to her, in this context, in the present context, education is very, very important to bring a better change in society through TVET sector. So we are happy to receive you here, ma'am. and Vocational Training, known as CTVT, is the national autonomous apex body of technical and vocational education and training sector committed for the production of technical and skillful human resources required to the nation. It mainly involves in policy formulation, quality control, preparation of competency-based curriculum, developing skill in standards of various occupations and testing the skills of the people, conducting various research studies and trainings, needs assessment, etc. CTVT is one of the important supporting partners to this international conference. We now have the privilege to invite to the podium Member Secretary of CTVT, Dr. Pushparaman Wagle, to share his invaluable insights and thoughts on the conference as well as the overall TV scenario environment.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, Education, Science and Technology, respected Vice Chancellor, Capital University, respected Secretary, Education, Science and Technology, Her Excellency Switzerland to Nepal Ambassador, distinguished national, international delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar, good morning. It is an honor to be here to extend a hand of cooperation with Kathmandu University for organizing this 2 days international conference on technical and vocational education and training. I, on behalf of Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training, that we only call CTVT, please accept my warm welcome to you all in this inaugural session of the International Conference. I would like to give brief introduction about the organization. CTVT was established in 1989 as a national apex and autonomous debate body. CTVT has been focusing its efforts on producing basic and middle level skilled human resource as per need of nation. We are delivering 3 years diploma and 18 months DSLC long courses after grade 10 in different occupational like agriculture, engineering, health and hotel management. Similarly, we are conducting up to 1 year's market-oriented short-term skills training. Recently, with the support of SDC, we started work-based training, apprenticeship training 2 years course after grade 10. Regarding these 880 technical institutes providing technical education in long course and 63,000 students are benefited in a year. Similarly, 1,200 training providers are conducting market-oriented short-term training throughout the country. About 50,000 people are benefited, which by many standards is a significant number, yet not enough to upskill and reskill thousands more who are eager to find decent employment or start their entrepreneurship. We develop the curricula and skill standard for the certification of the skill level. We also provide teacher training for enhancing the capacity of instructor. In this context, we are facing many challenges. Quality assurance is the big challenge. We do not have big industry, then other social stigma. We face that challenge. Social stigma means society respect white collar job rather than blue collar job. We need to improve the image of Tibet by implementing national vocational qualification framework. Lack of proper labor market information system, training management information systems. We are in dire need to develop self-sustainable, competitive, innovative, and value-oriented citizens for the social and economic development of the country. The ultimate goal of Tibet graduates is to enhance the productivity and employability, and the individual to further integrate Tibet with employment. While I visited the sub-theme of the conference, I am excited by the prospect that academic papers to be presented will actually touch upon key concerns which we are facing today in the Tibet sector. It is my hope and expectation that presentations will address the why and how questions of treating Tibet as a prioritized system of education and nothing like a secondary degree. Issue over quality, relevancy, or learning and training will be incorporated, adding a gear to CTBT to probably review its plans and practices to meet the outcome of the research papers and academic discourses in the national Tibet sector. This will eventually contribute to the national economy through the generations of skilled human resource for our industries. I would like to highly appreciate Honorable Minister, his presence in spite of busy schedule. Similarly, I appreciate the Chief Secretary, Her Excellency, Ambassador. Finally, I hope distinguished guests from national and international would be taking the wonderful international conference and stay peaceful and enjoyable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Usman Manwaki, Member Secretary of CTBT. It was indeed great to know about the various initiatives CTBT has taken in recent times. Thank you also for highlighting the way forward for the promotion of the TBT sector and to use your very words, the need to improve the image of the TBT sector in the country. Before I proceed, this is an important information to all the conference participants. We believe you will receive the package at the registration desk, which contains the book of abstract. Well, the soft copy of that abstract will be accessed by this QR code, which is also part of the package. All you have to do is download the QR app on your mobile phones. And all the relevant documents, program abstracts, and the photographs will be available in the soft copy format. Ladies and gentlemen, it took only 6 years after the establishment of diplomatic relations between Nepal and Switzerland for the two countries to join hands for the promotion of TVET sector in Nepal. The history of Swiss cooperation in TVET in Nepal began in 1962 with the establishment of Balaju School of Engineering and Technology, BCTC, previously known as Mechanical Training Center, MTC. Similarly, Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation, STC, established Jiri Technical School, JTS, as another milestone of TVET in 1982. These can be called the precursors to all the latter and present-day cooperation between Nepal and Swiss government, which with time has come a long way. Ladies and gentlemen, we feel immensely honored now to invite to the podium Her Excellency Ms. Elisabeth von Capella, Ambassador of Switzerland to Nepal, for her remarks.
Mr. Chairperson, Honorable Minister of Education, Mr. Pokharel, Vice Chancellor of the Kathmandu University, former Secretary of State, Mrs. Dr. Ursula Reinhold, ladies and gentlemen, it's a huge honor for me to be here at this opening of this conference. And I would like to congratulate all of you who have been involved to make it happen. And as it was already said, and this is really my deep conviction, that Nepal is one of the trendsetters, one of the role models in the TVET sector. Why I can say that, as also Dr. Ursula Reinhold has already said, we have here everybody represented. We have our Honorable Minister, who is a role model and a change agent in the country. We have the university here, we have people from the ministry, and we have especially the private sector. And I am now 30 years in development cooperation, and I was in many countries where we try to support the country in establishing a TVET model. And I think this is one of the only countries I really know where there is a success. And it is a success because there is a full understanding of the collaboration between the private sector, between the government, between the politician, between the executive, legislative, and between the young people who really would like to join. And to be embedded or engaged in this new form of education. I was recently in the Jiri Technical School, and I had an interaction with a young student, and what they said is we need more practical know-how. We want to practice, because we have understood that only theory is not helping us. And we have seen a fundamental change in the youth in Nepal. I was here, some of you might know, 10 years ago, and this country has changed. And this country has changed in many different ways, but one way is how the young people see their future. 10 years ago, the young people wanted to become a bureaucrat, and now they want to become entrepreneurs. So it has really fundamentally changed the way what they want to become, and how they see they want to explore themselves and the world, how they want to interact. And this, as it already said, has to be followed by, of course, the education system. So I also say always, and I'm equally enthusiastic as Dr. Reinhold about Nepal, otherwise I would not have come back, because I really see that fundamental change have happened here. Also in the sense that we have now a federalism, a federal state, which means that the whole system needs to be somehow spelled down what it means on local level, provincial level, and federal level. So this is for me a moment of now or never. And I don't know if many countries have the chance to somehow build the system and start from scratch. Not only in the TVET sector, but in many domains and fields. So I think that's a huge opportunity for all of you and us to be engaged. As we also have understood, Switzerland is 60 years involved in the TVET sector. We started more on a formal level, and nowadays I think we have also understood that the market needs different skills and different people. And I believe that Switzerland has never let down Nepal in the Tibet sector. I think we always have been honest, we always try to support you in what is the right system for you, not what is our system. And what is the right system for you, but what we can from our system learn. And we have also understood before that there is youth unemployment, and in a country where you have a strong Tibet sector, where, as in Switzerland, 70% of the young kids go for an apprenticeship, not for higher education. And some of our German colleagues, they don't understand it, that not more people do a university degree or go for Matura. But I think we believe this is our strength. And we also believe that in countries where you have a strong Tibet system, and where especially you have the dual apprenticeship model, that there is less youth unemployment. We have started last year, together with the government of Nepal and schools and university, to introduce this dual apprenticeship model. This means the majority of the time the young students are spending in the private sector. And it is very important to understand that these students should be selected by the private sector and not by the schools or by the government. The private sector has to select young people they feel they are the right person to be part of their enterprise, and then they can be sent to technical and vocational education schools. So, Honorable Minister, I think, as I said, you are really very much a visionary person in that sense, and of course also the Prime Minister of Nepal, who has always guided us in his vision that this country needs a strong Tibet sector. I think all together we'll make it happen. At this point, I would like to say what is very important for us, that this Tibet sector is a formal sector, not an informal sector. And here we make a difference between skill development, which is more informal, and the Tibet sector, which is formal, which allows the young people, once they have fulfilled or have gone through an apprenticeship, to move ahead in their career. It is, as it was said, a lifelong learning procedure. And that's why we are also so much convinced that there should be, and the Honourable Minister knows what I say now, a separate act for Tibet, because we believe this separate act will be really instrumental for your country. You will be a role model, because it will allow you to move ahead. It will allow you to move ahead, it will allow you to really make progress in the Tibet sector, and the other education field will follow, but I'm very much convinced, and please be aware, Honourable Minister, also university and private sector, you can count on our support in the next year, and we will support everything you would like us to support you to make this really success story happen. Today we come together because it's about research. It's an opportunity also because what I also appreciate is it's not about research for research, it's applied research. It's research who should help us all to advance. We should help us to understand how we have to adapt to this fast-changing world and technical world and digitalization. And I think there, as well as it was said, this very strong collaboration between the private sector, the university, and the politics, and the Ministry of Education and the Honourable Minister is so important. And the fact that you are here together shows that I have a lot of reason to be very optimistic. And I thank all of you for having to be here. And we also need success stories, to keep us going and keep us motivated. And I think that's a wonderful success story. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ms. Elizabeth von Kapfer, Ambassador of Switzerland to Nepal. Words like youth and youth empowerment came up so many times over the course of your speech, which makes me very happy as a youth, despite the fact that I've got a few gray hairs on my head. Do still consider myself as a youth, and because it came up so many times, I believe the youth would have felt very happy over the mention of those words. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we now proceed towards the oil lamp lighting ceremony. And since it's a conference on technical and vocational training and education, it's only right that I devote a few words on the skills and craft that went into the making of the traditional oil lamp you can see on the stage called panos. Known as panos, decorated with fine hand carvings with Lord Ganesh and Lord Kumar, this oil lamp is handcrafted by the skilled artisans of Nepal, whose families have been crafting brass sculptures for centuries, with the art being passed on by each generation. Without further ado, to inaugurate this conference by the lighting of this unsurpassed handiwork of Nepali artisans, we would like to invite on this stage Honorable Minister for Education, Science and Technology, Mr. Giriraj Pokhrel, and respected Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Professor Dr. Ramkanth Mukherjee, to do the honors.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Giriraj Pokhrel, Minister of Education, Science and Technology, and our respected Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Professor Dr. Ramkanth Mukherjee, for lighting the lamp. We are on the first day of this two-day international conference on technical and vocational education and training for employment, income, and job quality. The vision statement of Kathmandu University, one of the organizers of this conference, is to provide quality education for the leadership. Its vision is to become a world-class university devoted to bringing knowledge and technology to the service of humankind. Masters in TVET is a recent addition to the host of other academic programs the university has been offering since its establishment. We now have the honor of inviting atop the podium most respected Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Professor Dr. Ramkanth Mukherjee for his speech.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Excellency, Honorable official dignitaries, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, I am honored and pleased to welcome you all to Nepal for this historic gathering today here. In 1961, when President John F. Kennedy was visiting NASA headquarters, he introduced himself to a janitor who was mopping the floor and asked her what she did at NASA. She said, "I am helping put a man on the moon." I think of that wonderful story when I remember my own experience some 25 years ago. When I returned to Nepal after having trained in Europe for 15 years, I was trying to establish a little hospital for this from a patient zero. Many might think that I must have had a team of renowned doctors and highly educated people working with me in these initial days. But that was not at all in this case. My team was comprised mostly of technical level health staffs. Nonetheless, I was profoundly surprised and gratified, not just by the skills they had, but by their solid grasp of local context, cultural perspectives, and community level engagement. Over the following days, this team became the unshakable heart of the institution that led to the realization of our mission, the provisions of quality care to the poor. This experience that humbled me and made me appreciate that my 15 years of medical training in Austria and Switzerland was not nearly enough to make things happen back here in my hometown. Perhaps because I had left Nepal for Europe at a very young age, I still had major gaps in my understanding of the local context, and I lacked the skills needed for a resource-limited settings. Just as that cleaner at NASA told President Kennedy that C2 was part of the mission to the moon, it was then that I fully appreciated that there is no high level or middle level or low level knowledge. There is only knowledge or the absence of knowledge. No knowledge is small. No skill is trivial. Ultimately, what matters most is how we translate the collective knowledge and skills. The purpose of education is to improve the lives of the people and create a just, equitable, and sustainable society. The conventional growth of the education sector has widely ignored the applications of knowledge in real-world settings, and also undermined the process of harnessing indigenous and local knowledge for development. It has also created the perceptions of academic excellences as something that can be measured only by publications, degrees gained, and other scholarly outcomes, and not through the direct benefit to the communities, including the full utilization of local resources, job creation, and increased productivity. The ripple of this mistaken point of view are seen everywhere nowadays. Hundreds of thousands of Nepali youths live to work in the desert while our fertile land remains barren because we do not use mechanisms to introduce to our own agricultural system. Nepal imports food products worth billions of rupees while our indigenous food and whiskey disappears because we failed to systematize and industrialize our traditional culinary delights. Our herbal products are sold abroad as raw materials, and we end up importing back the value-added products at several-fold the price for which we sold the raw materials. Nepali artisans who have created the fabric and buildings of our heritage through their centuries-old traditions struggle to make ends meet. Meanwhile, we take foolish pride in our blind adoptions of imported materials. These mismatches and disparities are in the core of our social maladies. The social, political, and development hurdles we face every day are the product of these apparently small failures. It is because we have failed to convert knowledge into applicable skills that we now face a society that knows more about fighting for opportunities rather than creating new opportunities. We have created a culture of demanding and snatching rather than developing and sharing. The notions of learning while working and the notions of working while learning shouldn't be considered as an inferior approach of a system. Major achievements we see in the world are the results of the rich and right combinations of generations of knowledge and the applications of that knowledge. We savor chocolates from Switzerland, a country that doesn't produce a single gram of cacao. We buy textiles from England, a country that doesn't grow a gram of cotton. Europe buys flowers and fruits from Israel, a desert country with extremely limited natural water resources. Even the digital revolutions and the growth of IT sector have countless stories of successful entrepreneurship who had the opportunities of applying the core skills and knowledge to innovations and practices. So, what should we be doing? I would like to mention a few points. First and foremost, we have to bridge the gap between the traditional university system and technical education through joint training programs like here, regular interactions and formal partnerships. Technical and vocational education should benefit from the research and scholarly activities that happen in the universities. And universities should benefit from the impact-creating potential of technical and vocational education then. We should not create a society where those who have the will to implement do not have the knowledge and skill. And those who have the knowledge do not have the ability to implement. The initiations of master's program in technical and vocational education training by KU School of Education is a major milestone in this area. The Technical Training Center at Kathmandu University recently launched Integrated Rural Development Project and the Nepal Technology Innovation Center at Kathmandu University. Partnership with the Direct Development Corporations and Nepal Electricity Authority are our other achievements. The KU Department of Music is renovating Tripura Sundari Temple to house some of its programs. These are just a few examples of our initiatives in linking technical education and skills to the university system. In the coming days, we look forward to a better integrations of technical educations and university educations through partnership with other institutions, to the development of academic programs with more focus on applied research and training, and to the creations of institutes and centers of excellences within the university that will focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. We will further escalate our initiative of taking classroom from the campus to the community. We look forward to a noble and fruitful partnership with the organizations present today here with us. Second, as a country, we need to develop adequate quality control strategies for existing and upcoming technical and vocational education programs. Let us not be plagued by what I call the disaster of mediocrity. Quality is the surest way of sustainability. Quality survives with its own strength. Mediocrity struggles with its own load. Let us create programs, products, and institutions that will be hallmark of quality and excellence. Rather than create 100 mediocre institutions, let us create 10 top-class institutions. Kathmandu University has always had quality as its central point. We are just ready to be a part in any national or international effort to enhance quality in the TVET program. Third and last, we need to develop global partnership between and among policymakers, academia, TVET institutions, industries, international organizations, and most importantly, the various tiers of our government, the federal, provincial, and local, as my dean already has mentioned in his speech. Our communities are well positioned now to allocate and generate resources for TVET institutions. Let us work with our policymakers and communities to help identify at least one unit per our program for their communities that can further develop through the TVET program. It may be a local agricultural product. It may be tourism, resource management, traditional crafts, herbs, construction materials, arts, or the like. Local communities and governments should realize that without creations of dedicated institutions to enhance the activities, we will not get tangible output and outcomes. For that, there has to be allocations of resources in any form, be it cash or kind, or land or other provisions, openness to collaborations and a fast-acting bureaucracy. I personally feel optimistic about this through the interactions we have had with various local and provincial authorities nowadays. In conclusion, finally, the purpose of education is to bridge people from different sectors and abilities. The purpose of education is not to segregate our society into different tiers, but to create a society that is equitable, harmonious, and complementary to each other. Friends, let us share and share our experiences and point a future possibilities and prosperity. Let us take a moment to come out of our professional ivory tower and see beyond what we have today. Let us see our village vibrant with our own youth running with enterprises, their own enterprises. Let us see our communities jostling with people showcasing their products to a crowd of visitors. Let us see the new generation growing with hope and living with optimism. Dear friends, this is my cherished dream I want to share with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much respected Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Professor Dr. Ramkanth Shrestha, for your most invaluable insights on what ails the education system of our country, and we do fervently hope that your dream comes true. Particularly poignant during your speech was the sight of our brothers and sisters clamoring to go abroad for employment. A particular line from your speech, they go off to deserts while the fertile lands remain unattended here, was very touching to me. With the hope that the promotion of the TVET sector can alleviate such challenges, ladies and gentlemen, it is our great honor now to invite to the podium Honorable Minister for Science, Education and Technology.
Honorable Chair, Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, Excellency Ambassador, former State Secretary of Switzerland, Dr. Ursula, Secretary of Science, Technology and Education Ministry, founder of renowned scholars, academicians, and researchers, distinguished delegates, policy makers and practitioners, eminent representatives from private sectors and non-governmental organizations, development partners, professors, students and staff of Kathmandu University, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Kathmandu University for inviting me to attend this international conference on technical and vocational education and training for employment, income and job quality. It is my great pleasure and honor to be here with you today. I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to Kathmandu University School of Education for organizing such a relevant conference. I appreciate your visibility and strength to bring together world-class professionals and academic researchers to share their knowledge and innovation in the field of debate. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the government of Switzerland and the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology Zurich for their invaluable support to make this event happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Human Rights Convention of 1948 explicitly acknowledged the fundamental right of people to have access to education, including technical education and vocational training. Since then, this has been not only the right of a person, but also an important vehicle for employability and economic growth of a nation. Furthermore, the SDG 4 Education 2030 has also given the priority of innovation and skill development. Looking at the global context, several fast-growing countries have demonstrated the examples of Tibet that has significantly contributed in generating employability and economic growth. Similarly, applicable knowledge and technical know-how in a person have been a key pathway for personality development and sustainable livelihood of a person. Therefore, I hope in my belief that
today's conference will give adequate space for sharing the best practices gained by participating countries and explore the appropriate ways forward that would fit for developing countries around the globe. I hope Nepal will be privileged with learning from the output of the conference that could replicate in policy, program, and governance of Tibet in Nepal. Please allow me to briefly underline the education situation of Nepal. As you all know, we have recently introduced the federal system of governance in Nepal. School education is now considered as the concurrent responsibility of all three levels of government. However, the governance of school education is under the responsibility of the local government. Since 2016, we have been implementing the National 7-Year School Sector Development Plan, SSDP, which aims to enhance equitable access to and the quality of school education for all. Nepal has achieved universal primary education with the net enrollment rate of grades 1 to 5 reaching to 97.2%. Our focus now is on improving the transition to secondary school and improving the quality of education for all students. The SSDP also envisions to strengthen technical and vocational education in secondary schools in order to ensure that the skills and knowledge they acquire is relevant for their future employment. Moreover, Tibet will be an important sector going forward, and in future sector plans in order to secure Nepal's ambition to graduate from a low to a middle income country. Looking at the contemporary and the future demands of the nation, the government has shown its commitment to make the Tibet more accessible across the country. Since the Right Honourable Prime Minister had announced through his first statement in February 2018 that the government will establish Tibet Institute at all local levels. Now, 141 among the 753 local levels have been access to Tibet institutes. However, ensuring financial sustainability in Tibet has become crucial due to the necessary competing demands of other development sectors of Nepal. I hope that among the other agendas, this conference will come up with a valid option on financing of Tibet in developing countries like Nepal. In particular, I do believe that the outcome of this conference will eventually contribute to the development agenda of Nepal, prosperous Nepal, happy Nepal. Distinguished delegates, let me share some of the legal provisions and structures established to deliver Tibet program in Nepal. The existing Tibet policy of Nepal published in 2012 aims to prepare the capable, efficient, competitive and productive human resources to contribute to inclusive economic growth. The Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training CTVT has been established to develop Tibet curriculum and to certify those who graduate with strong pass marks in the examination. There are 12 line ministries also delivering Tibet programs in Nepal. Despite several efforts made by both the government and the private sector, the outcome of the interventions have been mixed in Nepal. For example, a recent report reveals that the unemployment rate has increased to 11.4%. On the other hand, 500,000 youth enter into the labor market each year, but hardly 150,000 of them receive Tibet opportunity. In addition, more than 4.5 million working age youth have migrated abroad to search for a better job, the majority of whom are unskilled. We need to seek strategies to support their skill development and employment here in Nepal. Government of Nepal is now given the priority in Tibet sector as the expansion of the Tibet institutions, promote quality and relevancy in Tibet services, develop the legal foundation, institutional capacity, build up intergovernmental coordination and the private sector engagement are the strategic interventions to strengthen Tibet sector. Ladies and gentlemen, since contemporary studies claim that there will be a fast change in technology, competition, and employment opportunities in the days to come, retaining youth in the country and equipping them with the necessary critical thinking, problem solving, and innovative skills will be a major challenge for us to address in the near future. I would like to reiterate that this conference can also provide a useful platform to suggest comprehensive strategies for ensuring the strong governance and management system of Tibet, making the sector more efficient and responsive to the demands of the local job market. I am confident that the distinguished participants from more than 40 countries present will also enjoy this great opportunity to exchange ideas, share cross-country knowledge, and global best practices in the areas of Tibet sector. This outcome could equally contribute to achieve our common agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals. Please allow me to conclude by wishing you all the best success for this conference. Finally, I extend my sincere thanks to all the participants and wish all the distinguished guests a joyful stay in Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Giriraj Mani Pokhrel, Minister of Science, Education and Technology. Change is hard to achieve unless and until it has been massively implemented through government mechanism with necessary, relevant and timely improvement in education sector. Government's commitment to make TAUT accessible to all local level is very encouraging. On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to thank our Honorable Minister for his gracious presence in the conference. With his presence, the conference has already become a grand success. Thank you, Your Honor. Now with these closing remarks, we had come to the end of the inaugural session. Now we have a refreshment outside this hall and we will be departing for 15 minutes for tea break and we'll be coming back to the hall again for our first keynote speech by our Professor Dr. Tankanath Sarma. Thank you.